What's the identity that you are now choosing to unravel from? And make that statement and let us bear witness to that. Because so much of the identity is based on what we've learned, what we've been told we are going to experience, what we are told is possible or impossible, and what we've told ourselves, sometimes through our own research, sometimes through our own conclusions that we come to. And I am here to tell you that there is unlimited possibility and potential when we can move beyond the human-based consciousness. Now, some might call that the ego. I believe that we have an opportunity to really heal our ego and to come into a place of wholeness and partnership within ourselves. On page 49, now this comes after a little bit of a section on resonance and intuition, and it's a prompt that my husband and I have used for many years in our work with folks, and it says, in the situation with blank, I perceived I should feel blank, because somewhere along the line I learned that when blank happens, I should feel blank. It's this interesting thing where so much of our response has been conditioned based on what we think is the appropriate response. And it can occur with just about anything. I'll use a couple of benign examples and then move into some others. In this situation, when somebody cut me off in traffic, I perceived I should feel pissed off and angry and disrespected, because somewhere along the line I learned that when people cut you off in traffic, it's disrespectful, and I should feel angry. It's not the natural response. It's not the response that is part of your original makeup, your encoding, that original intention. It's not that response. It's not a soul response. It's a culturally induced response, a familial upbringing induced response. You know, in the situation when, it can go to everything, to losing a job, to house foreclosing. In a situation with a particular person where hurt or anger or feeling disrespected comes up. Most of the time, it's the conditioned response that we are falling into, literally falling prey to. Being able to shift into a higher perspective, so when we sink into our own resonance, the resonance of soul, of spirit, of the divine mind that does reside within you, the divine mind that does reside within you, when we sink into that place of resonance and release our past conditioning, looking at the situation from a higher perspective, we begin to feel, think, and see very different things. And being able to shift into a higher perspective supports the ability to distinguish a behavior or an emotional state or a thought from the identity. Because the truth is, from the identity of truth is that you are whole and you are perfect and you are completely free. That's the truest identity. Do you remember in the very beginning, in Awakening the Healer Within, and I know I did this in the pre-audios, like Awakening the Healer Within, Awakening the Inner Shaman. One of the things that I said, and the resonance of this is just so, so profound. I said, up until this point, you've been praying to a God of your misunderstanding from an identity of separation in a world created of illusion. Today, though, today exists as a bridge to a new reality, one where you pray, you commune, you converse, you dance, you play with a God of your higher understanding from an identity of wholeness in a world created of love. And it's not a huge leap. We're talking about a few adjustments and the willingness to not be so tempted by the story, because we get tempted to be in our smallness. And when I say our smallness, I'm not saying that from a judgmental place. I get tempted to be in that smallness. I tend to shift out of it pretty quickly. This is a huge opportunity, and I would like you to imagine living in that space, living in that place where you are praying and communing and dancing and interacting with a God of your higher understanding from an identity of wholeness in a world created of love. And that's all up to you. It's all 100% up to you. I said a few weeks ago that suffering is a choice. Anger is a choice. Hatred's a choice. And we choose our experience of the world. We choose our experience of ourselves. We choose the experience of the external, temporary conditions of our lives. And the Awakening the Healer Within journey is about becoming our prayer, becoming the intention, becoming the commitment. And when we can come back into a place of the most authentic, original intention is complete wholeness. And that wholeness magnifies a truth of the essence that you were born to and ultimately will return to. And the state of love that we're inviting us to all live from, to think from, to see from, to create from, is a state of the mind that is embodied with the essence of spirit. Love is truly a state of mind that has embodied itself with the essence of spirit. We choose our experience of ourselves, of the world. And the world, the common culture, a lot of what we've taught wishes to deny you of the grandest truth of all, which is you are loved and you are a blessing. And you are such an incredible blessing here on planet Earth. You are known by God. God knows the sound of your voice, recognizes your face, and loves you absent of any conditions. Today exists as a bridge into a new reality. And in that new reality, I ask, what within you would no longer exist? What within you would not have any more room to be? What would be birthed within the spaciousness of that state of being? What would we as a human race witness in our own transcendence? And maybe in the here and now moment, it would be that for the first time you would understand love and the vast potential that is encoded within your original intention. Not a vast potential that exists out there, but a vast potential that exists within you. And there is a letting go that's required. And one of the letting goes is the justification for our abuse, for the abuse that we partake in within our own minds, towards ourselves, and of one another. There's a letting go of blindness to the immense beauty that exists in the world and within ourselves. And I'm inviting you to see that potential, to taste it, to give yourself permission to imagine it, and to locate right now your own resistance to releasing the pain that has become your identity. Because what happens is then we end up living for reasons that are not in alignment with the bigger why of our existence. The meaning that you came here to experience through the realization of your divinity, of your purpose. And I believe that's the freedom we ultimately seek, to create a story that is consistent with your encoding, your original intention, to create love and beauty beyond the human story of lack and limitation. Where do you see your own resistance? The resistance you have around releasing that identity of illusion. And so I'm going to invite you to take in a deep breath and invite yourself to come into contact with what's ready to be released. What are you ready to unravel from? Because whatever it is, it's binding you in a constrictive energy. This is important as we move into the center of the wheel, because it's these identities that continue to pull us out.